Hey guys, what's going on? This is Roth. I'm here at New York Comic Con with Kevin Bacon and Shawn Ashmore. Thanks, guys, for coming by. This is exciting.
Thanks for having us.
We're going to talk about the following. Now, I'm curious because essentially you guys won last season, you know? Like, you've won the day, triumphant, heroic. What now? How much time has passed when we meet you again? What are the relationships like?
Well, I have to first of all say I don't think that my character was feeling very
Well,
triumphant at the end. But yes,
No.
yeah, I mean, I think what you mean is that Joe Carroll
Yes.
was
is in
captured.
jail.
So yeah, and again, I think that is the tip of the iceberg. That's kind of what we're saying. I mean, it is the FBI. We're really a unit that chases serial killers. So yeah, I mean, Joe Carroll is in jail at this point, but that certainly doesn't stop the crazy from happening in the world. So I think when we move forward this season. We start to, I think Joe Carroll permeates everything that we do. I mean, he's such a huge part of obviously influencing Reinhardt and who Mike Weston has become. But now leading into this new season, there are certainly new threats, and Joe Carroll is still with us. He's still an influence. So,
want to talk about what is your relationship now like with Joe Carroll now that he is in jail, or is he somebody that does it become, and I hate to use this sort of reference, but that Hannibal Lecter thing where you sort of go and pick his brains about, as you've done before?
Yeah, we wanted to stay away from the Hannibal Lecter thing, and it's interesting that you mentioned that. We had two endings, as you know, last year. One where Joe lived and one where Joe died. I'm excited that he lived because one of the joys of doing the show for me is being able to play those scenes with James Purefoy. We do have some interesting ideas about how to get the two guys back together, and I don't want to spoil, how that happens. But Joe is in jail, and one of the things that I'm sort of come to as a character is that I truly have moved past him, or I'm making a very, very strong effort to do that. And when you've been so obsessed with a character like that for so many years, I think it raises the question: does that leave some kind of a hole?
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that that is kind of empty in your life without him? And what are you going to use to fill it?
Yeah, that's interesting because they do kind of have this strange obsession with one another,
Sure.
That merits probably a lot of therapy. You mentioned this, and you're right. Your character was going down a pretty dark path, and I'm wondering how he's sort of reconciling himself to his loss.
I don't think that he's fully realized how to do that yet. In fact, I think he's taking steps to continue down that path as we find him this season. One of the things we pick up about a year after season 2, and in the interim, Mike has decided to go with a task force to South America to essentially try to shut down the considerable gray wealth, the fortune that allowed them to escape so many times, and hoping that by doing this, that Mark Gray, the last surviving member who Mike is desperate to get a hold of, will be flushed into the open. And really, again, at the end of this second season, there was a nice moment between Max and Mike, this romance that was building, maybe some hope for Mike that, when we sort of find him this season, he's sort of stepped away from. He's stepped away from Max to pursue Mark, and that's a decision that he has to deal with as we step in. So, the other thing I think is that Mike has learned to compartmentalize his emotions, and Ryan last year was constantly checking in with Mike and asking him not to sort of become him. And I think in a certain way, Mike has learned his lesson to sort of put up some walls and in a sense manipulate that relationship, maybe not to let Ryan in as much as he had in the past. And again, we'll see how that plays out, but that's, to me, sort of a little bit of the way that Mike is dealing with the world now and with his emotions.
How is Ryan feeling about Mike, about the potential relationship with Max and things like that? Does he have thoughts or emotions or a response to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't think either one of us could have imagined when we first met the Weston character that this relationship would be one that would develop so much over 3 seasons. Weston, when you think back on him, he was like Opie. You
He
know what I mean?
was,
Like,
yeah.
like, and he's really
Can I
like,
get you some coffee?
yeah, it's like he comes.
So sweet.
Mr. Hardy?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I think that's it was probably part of what Kevin Williamson's vision was, but I think it also sort of came from him looking at Shawn and looking at his work and seeing the places that he could kind of go and then taking it there. So I think that what's as Shawn pointed out, last year was a lot about me saying, "Don't become me, don't become me." This year, I think it's gone to now I'm really worried about you, and I see someone who is really pushing people away, and one of the scariest things from having being a parent is you can almost deal with anything, but it's very hard to deal with somebody that kind of shuts you out and is isolating themselves, and I think that's what I'm starting to see from him.
Are we going to see Claire play a role this season? Is she going to be?
I don't think that we're going to see Claire necessarily, but I would think probably not. I think that I have a new relationship, and one of the things that's kind of interesting about this new relationship is that if you look at the women that have been in my life, Claire, a fantastic woman, beautiful, smart, sexy, ex-wife of the serial killer
Complicated.
Yeah,
There's
complicated.
some baggage.
Right? And one of the great gifts that she gives me at the end of season 2 is to say, listen, you're not coming home with me, buddy. Like
Your bag was packed. You were ready.
yeah, I was ready. She's like, I don't think so. This is not the best thing for me or for my child. I also had a relationship with Carrie Cook last year, who was a reporter, no offense, but she was probably
None taken.
she was probably not the best choice either, because she was in a public situation and was going to be conflicted about whether or not she should be reporting on what I was doing, and that was and
She wasn't conflicted.
no, okay, she wasn't. And the third girl that you see me with stabbed me.
Yeah, so not a lot of great luck.
Not a lot of great luck. The woman that I'm with this year is truly could conceivably be the perfect woman for me.
So she's probably a serial killer. I kid. I hope it works out. Do you think that there's almost kind of like a reverse trajectory where maybe as he's hardening a bit, Ryan's opening up a little bit, maybe opening up to the idea that his
Totally.
life can be fuller?
Oh, totally. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I am really. I mean, last year I was kind of trying to be that person, or pretending is a better word, But I had not in any way stepped away from my obsession with Joe or with my fears about letting people into my life because of what may happen to them. This year I'm really open to it.
So I know you can't say exactly what it is, but can you tease a little bit about what sort of the mastermind of the season is, the big bad, the threat?
Everybody pointed the mics to me. What am I going to say? I think that, again, what we've kind of been saying is that Joe Carroll was the tip of the iceberg. So as far as who it's going to be or what it's going to be, I think I can say that it's going to be unexpected. I think that it's going to come. What I like about it is that as of when season 2 was happening, we knew Joe Carroll, we knew his methods, and so it was about finding him. Now, the way that the villains are coming at us now, I think the audience won't understand where it's coming from, as we as characters don't really understand. So there's more of sort of the investigation and the mystery, like there was in the first season. Like, what is this plan? Who are these people? So I don't want to give too much away, but I think that there's a mystery to it that is going to be satisfying from an audience perspective.
Okay, I have to ask this one. It's silly, but we're big geeks around here. Obviously, you've both been a part of the X-Men franchise. So I'm wondering if you think that Days of Future Past was like the closing the door, saying goodbye to these versions of these characters, or if it's actually opening the door to anything is possible at this point.
Well, for me, I love playing the character. I love to think that the door is kicked wide open.
That's what I thought at the end of First Class.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I do think the door is open. Making the choice to go, the last moments of the film, going back and seeing Cyclops and Jean and the school back the way that we saw it in the trilogy. Obviously, I think leaves it open, and I think that there's such a great history of from the source material that there's so many stories left to be told, and I think the movie did well. So I think the audience is there. So we'll just have to see. I would love to play the character again, but you just never know until it happens.
Have you had any conversations at all about it for Apocalypse?
No conversations about Apocalypse.
I know this would never happen, but it feels like any dimension could open up. Is there any way that Let's
make this happen, Kev.
and Ashton could be together in a movie? Is there a storyline that would work?
I mean, they're X-Men. Yeah, sure. Why not?
It was just a coin.
Who would win in the fight?
In the fight?
I think you'd have to win. Except if there was a coin. Yeah, you could. Yeah. I don't know.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time. We're looking forward to seeing the following return in 2015. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, good. Do we know exactly when yet?
Not
We don't know,
exactly.
but early 2015, we'll be back on the air.
Okay. Thank you so much again for all things the following. And New York Comic Con, keep it locked right here to IGN.